When investigators searched the apartment of a missing 27-year-old woman, one detail immediately caught their attention: a section of the floor covered with construction debris. As they began clearing away the rubble, they uncovered something that left even seasoned detectives horrified. Hidden beneath the floor of her own apartment was the young woman's body, wrapped in plastic after suffering a brutal and violent attack. Who murdered her? Why was she killed in such a horrific way? And what did the apartment building's surveillance cameras reveal that helped solve the case? Today, I'll be telling you 4 disturbing true crime cases. Each one is relatively short on its own, but together they reveal just how terrifying real life can be. 4 women, 4 shocking stories, and by the end of this video, you'll understand the chilling connection between them. Before we begin, don't forget to like the video if you enjoy well-researched true crime content, and let me know in the comments where you're watching from. Your support helps this channel reach more viewers. Our first case takes us to St. Petersburg, Russia, in 2022. But to understand what happened, we have to start from the very beginning. On the evening of November 23rd, 2022, a man called the police after his girlfriend suddenly stopped answering her phone. Her name was Yulianna Chizhova. She had gone to inspect renovations at a newly purchased apartment, and then she vanished without a trace. Police immediately searched the apartment, but during their initial inspection, they found nothing suspicious. The investigation might have stalled there until detectives reviewed the building's surveillance footage. The cameras showed Yulianna entering the building, but they never captured her leaving. Realizing something had been missed, investigators returned to the apartment for a second, far more thorough search. As they examined the unfinished flooring, they noticed piles of construction debris covering part of the room. When they began removing it, they found a large plastic-wrapped bundle. Inside was Yulianna's body. Investigators also discovered clear signs that she had suffered a violent assault before her death. Yulianna Chizhova was born in 1995 in Petropavl, Kazakhstan. She was known as an energetic, talented student who dreamed of becoming an actress. After finishing school, her family moved to Pskov, Russia, where she pursued acting auditions. When those opportunities didn't work out, she decided to build a career in the beauty industry instead. She eventually relocated to St. Petersburg, where she opened a successful hair extension salon specializing in the American hair extension technique. She was also active on TikTok, where she regularly shared videos with her growing audience. As her business became more successful, Yulianna decided to buy her own apartment. Renovations began on October 2nd, 2022. She hired a team of 5 construction workers who had been highly recommended by friends. But almost immediately, problems began. Yulianna repeatedly asked the crew to redo completed work. Tiles had to be replaced, walls repainted, finishes corrected. The construction team grew increasingly frustrated, but no one felt the pressure more than the project coordinator, Almaz Ibrayev. Originally, the renovation was supposed to take just 2 months. Instead, deadlines slipped further and further behind schedule. According to investigators, Yulianna often called Almaz late at night, demanding changes and refusing to release full payment until the work met her expectations. One worker later claimed, "She treated us like servants. We kept redoing everything, and she delayed payments because she always found something wrong." Whether or not that perception was fair, tensions continued to build. And on November 23rd, they finally exploded. That evening, Yulianna finished work at her salon around 7 p.m. Before heading to the apartment, she bought a bottle of wine. Later that night, she was planning to meet someone for a date. Security cameras captured her entering the building. About 2 hours later, only one person walked back out, Almaz. The rest of the construction crew had already left earlier that evening. According to his later confession, Yulianna walked through the apartment, criticizing the renovation once again, pointing out uneven baseboards and paint imperfections. Almaz demanded payment before making any further changes. She refused. The argument escalated. Then everything changed in seconds. Unable to control his anger, Almaz grabbed a wooden mallet and struck Yulianna in the head. She collapsed to the floor, bleeding heavily. She was still conscious. She begged for help. Instead, he hit her again and again. Forensic experts would later determine that she suffered approximately 5 blows to the side of her head. Believing she was still alive, Almaz then took a piece of construction wire and strangled her until she stopped breathing. After killing her, he carefully wrapped her body in polyethylene sheets that had been purchased for the renovation. He secured everything with tape and hid her beneath the removed flooring inside a storage area, covering the body with construction waste. From the moment Yulianna entered the apartment until Almaz calmly walked back out carrying a shoulder bag, less than 1 hour had passed. The first person to realize something was wrong wasn't the police. It was the man waiting for Yulianna on their scheduled date. When she never arrived, he called her family and friends before filing a missing persons report. Police officially launched the search the following day. When investigators eventually returned to the apartment, they discovered Yulianna's body beneath the floor. The autopsy revealed multiple blunt force injuries to her head, severe bruising, and a length of wire tightly wrapped around her neck. After reviewing surveillance footage, investigators released images of the last man seen leaving the building. The suspect was described as a slim man of Asian appearance, wearing a blue jacket, dark pants, and a dark knitted hat. Meanwhile, Almaz did not flee immediately. He even continued working for another day, but by the following evening, he packed his passport, approximately 50,000 rubles in cash, and boarded a bus bound for Moscow, hoping to disappear. He never made it. Police tracked him using transportation surveillance cameras. On November 26th, officers stopped the bus near Pulkovo Airport. Armed officers escorted Almaz off the vehicle. According to investigators, he confessed almost immediately. He admitted attacking Yulianna during the argument before strangling her. His confession was recorded on video. The trial began in February 2023. Throughout the proceedings, Almaz remained silent, rarely lifting his head. Because he confessed, cooperated with investigators, and had no prior criminal convictions under the identity he was using, the court sentenced him to 7.5 years in a maximum security penal colony. Yulianna's family considered the sentence far too lenient, but the story wasn't over. Not even close. After the conviction, investigators made a shocking discovery. The passport identifying the killer as Almaz Ibrayev was completely fake. It had allegedly been produced through an underground forgery operation in Bishkek, Kyrgyzstan. His real name was Bakit Sarimatov. He was 41 years old, and years earlier, in 2008, investigators say he murdered his own mother. According to the case file, the two argued over money. Bakit struck her in the head with a rock before strangling her with a scarf. He buried her body in the family garden beneath rows of potatoes. Then, he fled to Russia under a new identity. Authorities later learned that only months before killing Yulianna, he had traveled back to Kyrgyzstan to renew his forged passport. The discovery triggered a separate criminal investigation into document forgery. Officials connected to the illegal passport scheme were reportedly arrested. Russian investigators are now working with international authorities to determine how many identities Bakit may have used over the years, and whether there could be other victims still waiting to be identified. Once he completes his sentence in Russia, he is expected to be extradited to Kyrgyzstan, where he could face trial for the murder of his mother. One question still divides public opinion. How can someone convicted of such a brutal murder receive only 7.5 years in prison? What sentence do you think would have been appropriate? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below.